Remarketer. Empowering realtors.
Good morning. Thank you very much for joining me today. I hope you've enjoyed your Labor Day long weekend and have had a chance to unwind a little bit after, I should say, a pretty volatile month. All right, so let's talk about exclusive listings. But this time, I'd like to stress on the fact that this could also be an important tool during the times that the markets aren't so hot. So, exclusive listings has always been a driver in the market on both ends of the spectrum. So, properties that are, either too good to be listed on MLS, and you'd like to include that as a pocket listing, or in the case of when the markets are slower, you might have properties that are reluctant to be listed on MLS for different reasons. One of the reasons being that too many exposure or too much exposure on MLS in terms of properties that have a hard time selling can be poisonous to the property's ability to go back on the market in the future. So in that case, it's also important for realtors to be able to provide an option to market the property exclusively off of the market for the seller. This could be a problem for a lot of sellers at the moment where they've been trying to sell. Obviously, the expectation of the sellers don't match the reality of the market at the moment or for the past few months. And, it has also been sliding in terms of, what a lot of the sellers would be able to compare their property with properties in their neighborhood that might have sold a few months ago would have experienced a very, very different market situation, and which wouldn't be the case today. And that could be a reason for them not to want to be listed on MLS again and again, only to be delisted or expired and not being able to sell and having to reduce the price over and over again. So in that case, an alternative route would be to offer the property to the market exclusively. However, the challenge that remains here is that is the ability to promote the listing and to advertise the listing, because obviously the biggest driver and the biggest exposure a market can have in the market is on the MLS. That's where the property is going to be available on hundreds and hundreds of different portals, including the most important ones in nationwide. As an example, platforms like Realtor.ca, for example, which is a big exposure, obviously. But when that goes out of the equation, what would be your option in order to promote the property on the through alternative channels, if you want to say? All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at what Remarketer can offer you in that sense. It's pretty straightforward, but you might have not have really taken it as far as it can be before. So let's go ahead and check things out right here. So it pretty much happens under Listing Manager, as well as another tool that we have here under marketing tools, which is the exclusive hub. So the exclusive hub is a tool that we have recently added to Remarketer, which can provide um, uh, a mechanism for you to promote the listing, not to not only to other agents but also to the public through the other channels that we provide. So let's go ahead and check things out. So first things first, we need to be able to create a listing exclusively, or a non-MLS listing, as we would like to call it. So for that, all what you would need to do is to go to your listing manager and click on Add New. So this is the Add New pane, which has got three different tabs. The second one is non-MLS or exclusive. So this one is a pretty straightforward set of parameters that need to be configured, and for that would be able to have um, uh, a non-MLS listing available on our platform to then start to promote. Okay, so let's go ahead and check things out. So at the very top, we have uh, three different options: exclusive, assignment, as well as coming soon. So these are three different categories that you can select from. So it's pretty self-explanatory, but assignments obviously are usually used for pre-construction projects that are ready to be delivered, and the agreement is now going to be assigned to a third party. It could also be for use for resale as well, which is, seldom practiced, but again, that's when the agreement of purchase is going to be transferred over to a third party. That would make this property an assignment. Exclusive property, obviously, is the one that we're looking for right now. So this one is exclusively available with you and your brokerage. And it's not available to third-party brokerages for sale or purchase. So that's the agreement there. And we also have another, a sideline of an exclusive listing that's a coming soon, usually used when you want to list the property a little bit earlier than you are listing the property on MLS, which could be a really, really good practice here as well, because you might want to do that before you expose the property um, on MLS. If you see a good chance in order to be able to sell the property before putting it on MLS, it's beneficial for both parties, the seller as well as yourself. Obviously, you're going to be able to most probably double end the property, or have better terms in order uh, to sell the property, which obviously can be transferred over to the seller as well. So the benefits would be mutual here. But anyways, these two can be used as you see fit in your strategy to promote the property. All right, so right after that, we have an important set of selections to be made. So firstly is the property type. So the property type is residential, commercial, land, or farm. So one of these four options can be selected right here. So um, you know each one of these terms, and in this case, we're going to go ahead and select residential. So we have a property type here, and then we have a property subtype. So that's basically a subtype of the residential, which you can go ahead and select now. So for example, here we have things like single family, like a condo, like a row townhouse. So these would be relevant to what the property type is. So for instance, if you're selected the property type as residential, it doesn't make sense for the subtype to be office. So be careful about that, so you make the right choice. But usually what we are going to be doing is a single family property that's going to be made available for sale or lease. So in this case, we're going to select sale. So now we have configure the category of the property. So that's the main tier at the top of the pyramid. What is the category of the property? And we make that available like this. Now, the second section here is the address field. We've got certain guidelines here for you to consider before going ahead and configuring this, because it's pretty delicate, if you want to say. Now, let me make this note right off the bat. One of the biggest problems when it comes to exclusive listings and non-MLS offerings out there is that the information that's provided are very, very limited, or how would you say it? Prepared and configured negligently. So a lot of information is misplaced. A lot of information is not configured properly. Important information such as price, for example, or even sometimes you see the number of bedrooms and bathrooms are not put in when the listing is being made. You have to make it pay attention to the fact that these are super important information that the buyers and their agents are looking for. And if you don't provide them, it usually results in them not taking putting the effort to find out. So if it's not available, it doesn't look legitimate. That's immediate, the immediate reaction. If it's not there in front of me right now, it's not legitimate, most probably. So I'm not gonna, might be just a trap for me to call somebody. I don't even want to bother. I'm not going to take that route. So it's important for you to provide the information that are critical for decision making to the buyers, and that's at the time of promotion. You cannot expect them to always be calling you to ask for more, unless you have a really gem, a gem of the market on your hand, and just the pictures are going to sell the property, for instance. So it's strategic, but it's super important. So make sure that you understand where the buyers and their agents would be coming from. So when you're promoting this listing, you're providing the critical and important information that are required for them to make a decision. So for an example, one of the biggest things, again, it's strategic. I would understand that under certain circumstances, it would make sense. However, a price is the number one decision-making factor. So if I'm in the market for a property between $1 and $1.2 million, that sets my objective. And that's the bracket that I'm going to be aiming for. So if a property is listed at $1 and it's expected for me to call in to find out what the price is, it might be a little bit, far stretch for me, to be expected of me to make that effort. So I'll go to the next page and only come back here if I'm super interested in this, or if there's nothing else that I can really reach out to. So you're limiting the options there. So be wary of this. Consider what the point of view of the buyers would be, and provide as much information as you can. You have a contract sitting right with an exclusive contract with the seller right there, so you have nothing to worry about, and you need to be able to promote the property with the facts that are required. All right, so enough of that. Let's go ahead and continue configuring this property right here. So first select an area, and then select municipality, and then pick a community. So the sequence here is important. You will not be able to find a community before you select a municipality, and you will not be able to select a municipality before you select an area. So let's go ahead and select an area first. So for example, let's say my area is York. So once I select York, that's when I'm going to be able to select relevant municipalities here. So you see now the municipalities that have been shown here are municipalities within York. So for instance, so now I can go ahead and let's say select Richmond Hill. So that's part of the York area. So you first need to be specific. Is it Peel? Is it York? Is it Toronto? Is it I don't know, Simcoe, for instance. So you have to select your area and then go ahead and select the municipality there. After that, we have the community. Now that I selected Richmond Hill, I can go ahead and select the community. So these are the list of communities that are available under Richmond Hill. So for example, it is in South Richville, for example. All right. The next thing is the street number. So the street number, again, is important. Yet again, when you have exclusive listings, you might not want to expose the property fully. But again, understand you have a contract with you, and until that contract is valid, nobody can come and take any advantage here. So you have full exclusive rights to the sale of that property. So there's nothing to worry about there. But again, it's up to you to decide. My suggestion always is to provide the information. So hiding things will only make people, flip the page and go to the next property available. So let's say it's number 43, somewhere street. Sorry, my mistake. The first section is street number. So again, read this. So enter the street number, 43, then enter the street name without street abbreviation. So this would be somewhere. No street or no avenue or nothing, right? So you just put street name somewhere. If there's an apartment unit or number, put it in the designated section. That would be the apartment unit or number right here, if you want to. Then select the street abbreviation from the list. So the street abbreviation is right here. So you have to select that from the list. So let's say we're looking for street here. So there it is, ST. So 43 somewhere street. And then I'm going to put the postal code. Let's see. Let me put in a proper address because we later want to generate the geo coordinates and I don't want to lose that. So give me 1 second. Let me go ahead and put in the proper okay. So I'm going to change this to Vaughan. And the community now is going to change to, let's say, Patterson. Street number is 176. Dufferin Hill. So that's the street name. Sorry. Hill. And the abbreviation is Drive. I'm just putting the address of the property, but I just want it to be a proper address. There we go. Drive. The postal code would be L4K5J4. L4K5J4. Okay, if there's a street direction like north, east, southwest, you can select that from this list right here as well. After that, you're going to be able to put in a major intersection. That will be useful as well. So in this case, the major intersection would be Um, let's see the major intersections. So that would be Dufferin and Rutherford Road. So you just type it in, Dufferin Street and Rutherford Road, just like that. You don't need to be too specific. It just mentions that. If there's a level, and obviously the province, you're going to be able to select here as well. Now that we have the address properly configured, I can go ahead and generate the geocoordinates. And that is crucial for the system to be able to attach all the third-party information to the property. So these would be the map, the schools rankings, the similar sold properties. Those kind of things can be generated and attached to the property. So I'm going to be able to just click on this button right here, and it will get the geocoordinates. That's why I wanted to have a proper address in here, so that the property would be pinned properly. Okay. Now, the next section are the prices and dates. Super important, as I mentioned, because these are important facts for the buyers to decide whether this is the right property for them or not. So let's say my listing price for this property is $1.2 million. So I just put in the price right there. That's $1,200,000. No commas, no dots, nothing. Just put in the dollar amount. Now, the next field here is important. This is an expiry date, and it's by default set on 90 days from today. So this is the time that you're actually listing the property. So 90 days from today, and that is when this exclusive agreement expires. So if it's a different date right there, select a different date. Now, in the case where you might want it to list this property on MLS afterwards, and you have a coming soon situation, this would be the date that you're going to list it on MLS. So let's say you have it exclusive for 2 weeks, and then after 2 weeks you're going to list it on MLS. So you should change this date to 2 weeks, the date when you are planning to list it on MLS, so that the exclusive property listing is going to expire on that date, and then your MLS listing is going to kick in. So it's important for you to make sure that you are setting this date correctly, because that's the time that the exclusive listing is going to expire. Once it expires, you won't be able to activate it again. You'd have to relist it again if you want to. However, you can extend this date in the future as well. So if you want to extend the listing, you can go ahead and change the expiry date before it reaches the expiry date. So it's important for you to make sure that you are setting a date correct. Also, if you don't do this and the date is let's say 90 days, and 2 weeks from now you're going to list the property on MLS, then you're going to have 2 listings on your website for the same property, one exclusive, another one coming from MLS. So make sure that you don't make that mistake, and you set this expiry date properly. The status is active. It's got other options here which are not active at the moment, but those would be sold, expired, terminated, conditional, or leased. So these are the different status options for this property, but after it's been listed. Taxes are important. So let's say 4,500 are my taxes. Let's say $4,000 are my taxes, and that's based on tax year 2021. If there are any condo fees, if there's any possession date, or if there are any possession remarks, these are the spaces for you to put them in, right? So for lease properties, for assignment listings, these are the things that you might want to make some possession remarks, and you want to make sure that the buyer is aware of when they can take over the property. So those are not mandatory, but could be useful information for the buyers. Now, the next section is the property characteristics. So this is where you're going to be able to put in the lot front. So again, as I mentioned, it's not mandatory, but the more important thing is to provide the information that a buyer needs to make a decision. So provide it right there. These are facts, and you can't change them anyway. So they're not bargaining chips. We would need to provide them. So let's say 45 feet, and the depth is, let's say, 125 feet. Then you can select the lot size code. Is it feet or meters? It's usually feet right there. Then you need to select the type of the property. So now is the time that I'm going to select what sort of a property we're looking at. So at the top here, I selected residential single family, but I haven't selected that it's a detached property, for instance. So now's the time that I'm going to select the property type. We also have the option to select the property style. So let's say the property style is a let's say a site split, right? So you have all the options for the property styles. Go ahead and select it. In this case, I'm going to select a site split. You can put in the approximate square footage. So these are brackets of sizes, just the way that you're used to. So let's say this is between 1,500 and 2,000. Then you can go ahead and mention more information about the basement, the condition of the basement, the year it was built, and the approximate age. Again, you can select from the brackets provided to you. Number of bedrooms, number of washrooms, and number of bedrooms pluses. So that's important. So let's say this is 3 bedrooms with 3 washrooms and 1 bedroom in the basement. So I put that in there as well. Again, these are not mandatory, but super important. Number of kitchens, let's say 1. If there are any kitchen pluses, so let's say if there are any kitchenettes in the basement, you can also mention that. In this case, let's say we don't have any of that. What is the water type? Is it municipal, for instance? The AC, let's say central air, and the heat source is, let's say, gas, for example. Heat type would be forced air. So these are the things that you would know about the property, and you can specify in here as well. The next section, we'll be talking about the exteriors. So the exterior of the property, you can also mention if it's like, for instance, brick, if there's a pool or not, if the property is waterfront or not, what is the acreage, what is the garage type. So let's say the garage type is attached. Driveway, is it like a circular driveway? Is it a front line? Is it a lane? Is it mutual? None. So all of that can be mentioned in here as well. Now, again, another important thing is the number of cars that can be parked inside the garage. So let's say it's a 2-car garage, for instance. Driveway parking, how many cars can be parked on the driveway? So let's say I can park 4 cars on the driveway as well. Now that would bring the total parking to 6. So that's a simple math that I can make here and specify the total number of parking spaces right there. This is a little bit debatable when you're listing condos, but at the end of the day, the buyer is interested in the number of parkings that I can use, not the number of parkings that the whole condo has right there. We can select whether there's a family room or not, whether there's a locker, whether there's a fireplace. So let's say there's a fireplace in here as well. Is it furnished or not? Central vacuum, elevator, pets, retirement. So these are other features we can have. Virtual tour, as well as the description. So if you're really serious about selling your property while it's exclusive, I would suggest that you have all the elements that are required to promote a property available, including a virtual tour. If you want to have a walkthrough virtual tour available, why not make it available for when it's the property is exclusive to you. So have everything prepared right off the bat and have yourself a link for the virtual tour available here. Just paste the link that's provided to you by your virtual tour guide so that you can have a property with a virtual tour available. Finally, we can have the description, so remarks for the clients. Let me just go ahead and copy and paste something from somewhere else. All right, so these would be the remarks for clients, so you know how to write that. Now, the difference here is that you don't have the limitations that you have when you're listing on MLS. So you can be as descriptive as you wish. So don't worry about that. You don't have to make all these abbreviations. This could be proper wording there. Um, so don't worry about that. In fact, it's better if you have proper wording because where does it affect your SEO? So that is a good practice for you to have a proper description written right there as well. It could be much longer than what you have uh, in MLS. Obviously, you can add the extras as well right there. Just pasted too much, I guess. Apparently, it should work. I just cut too much. And then we have the broker remarks. Now, this section obviously is remarks for other agents. So you can mention things like commissions, etc. So those kind of things can be included in the broker remarks right there. Now, we also have another properly structured section for co-op commission. So if there's a co-op commission offered, you can also mention that in there. Then you can select whether to display address or not. So going back here, without a proper address, you won't be able to generate the listing properly. So don't worry, even if you don't want to show the property address, you can go ahead and list it here properly. So you can generate the geocodes and everything. And then just down here, select that you don't want to display the address, if that's the case. But remember, again, address is one of the important decision-making factors as well. Now, the last option that you're going to be able to select here is whether you would like it to be advertised or not. So that means that we're also going to post this to the exclusive hub portal, which is a portal that we're advertising exclusive listings on. So if you would like to include that in for your listing as well, it's free of charge. You can go ahead and select yes here, and the property would be listed and advertised on that portal as well, which I'm going to show you now. Let me just go ahead and paste that in again. There's a confirmation. You accept the terms, and the exclusive listing has been successfully added. Now, the next section that we need to make sure that we do is adding the pictures to the property. So the listing status is active, it's featured on your website, blah, blah. I'm not going to get into that detail right now, but what we're going to do is click on pictures and start adding pictures right there. So I'm going to add the first picture. Now, make sure that you upload the pictures in the order that you want, so you don't have to change the order afterwards because it could be a little bit tricky. So let's go ahead and add the pictures one by one. So I'm going to add each one of the pictures right there. And then the second one. And then the third one. so on and so forth. So let me just go ahead and add a few pictures. And the sixth one. Let me just go ahead and refresh this. I don't know why my pictures didn't upload here. Apologize for this. There's something wrong with my access permissions on my computer. Try to make it too secure and then things don't work. So you'll have to excuse this for me. It's going to take a little time for me in order to reconfigure the settings here. Apparently there's no access for the system, for the browser, to my downloads folder. That was part of my security systems in my computer. That's why it is not able to upload the pictures here, but you get the picture. You can go ahead and add the pictures as well. Let me just try it one more time. No, it's still not able to get it from my computer, so I do apologize for that. But we need to upload the pictures here as well on the exclusive listing, so we have all the pictures available. All right. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back with you. Just a second, please. All right. Sorry about that. So going to the home page, we now have an exclusive listing without a picture, unfortunately, that's been listed on my website. And we've got all the information that's required. As you can see, we have everything like schools rankings and everything available in there as well. So it's a proper listing that's been listed and made available on the listing manager right there. So it's active and it's promoted on my website. Now, the other thing that has happened right now is that this list is also available in the exclusive hub module. So the exclusive hub module is going to make the property available to all of our agents across the board. So anyone who's using Remarketer in any way will have access to this exclusive hub, and the listing is going to be promoted as part of this exclusive hub package as well. So if you would also like to see all the other exclusive listings that are available here, you can go ahead and see that as well. So you might as well see some of the properties that might not have all the information that you would need for it to have. But again, you can see most of the properties have a good information as well, and you can easily go ahead and select these and have access to them as well. Now, on the other end, there is the exclusive hub portal, and that is exclusivehub.ca. So this is a client-facing portal where all the exclusive listings are going to be made available uh, for the end users. And you can see, for example, here there is properties that are exclusively available and being promoted on this portal to third parties. You can see that the property has been listed by this agent right here. It's for $1.25 million. This is an assignment. I would be more generous in explaining about the property, be more expressive in terms of what the property is and what the qualities of the property is. Things like the builder and the location and proximity to schools and highways and those kind of things definitely go a long way in order for you to be able to promote this property exclusively. So all those properties are available on this portal, and users can view properties here, favorite them. All of that can easily be done. So here we have another property which is available in South Richville, for instance. It's a larger property, so peaceful residential area, so you have all that information in there as well. So your property is also going to be available on this portal, and it is going to be promoted to users who use this portal to find exclusive listings right there. Now, so this is the one that we just listed here, which has also been promoted on the portal, as you can see right there. Now, the thing that we have to do here is that we need to take it further as well. So now what we've done is that we've created a listing. I've promoted it on my website. I've also selected to promote it on exclusivehub.ca, which is a third-party, basically consumer-facing portal, which is good for consumers to see that, and other people who don't use Remarketer. It's also available inside Remarketer to all of the Remarketer users. Now, the other things that I can do here is this. Let's go back to Listing Courier now. I can also go ahead and start an email marketing campaign for my listing. So that's pretty straightforward. Add new. Let's say single detail flyer. Exclusively listed for a limited time, something like that, right? Beautiful exclusive listing available, blah blah blah. Put in the flyer message, share it, and always ask people you're sending an email to share it with people they might think that this could be useful to, because then you're expanding your network greatly. Because if people start sharing, and that's because you asked for them to do, then you will get a lot more exposure. So here I can go ahead and select my exclusive listing in order to be added to my flyer. And my email is ready. Again, unfortunately, the pictures aren't loading. Otherwise, the pictures would show right here. And I can go ahead and select this email campaign to be sent out to all of my contacts, for instance. So I am promoting the listing not once, but several times to my database as well. The next thing that I can do, obviously, is go ahead and configure a virtual open house. This is something that we explained a couple of sessions ago for this exclusive listing. And that's by going to Listing Manager, clicking on Actions and Edit. and configuring the open house. So you do have a link to a virtual open house, which you can take to Facebook and Google and YouTube and advertise there as well. So if you start an ad uh, uh, on Facebook and Google, for instance, you can also promote the property to end users through these very important channels as well. You can even print flyers and promote the property locally in the neighborhood as well. So there's a lot of options for you to promote the property now that you have the platform available, uh, other than MLS. And this way, you're going to be able to promote the listing as much as you can by being able to, without having to list it on MLS for different reasons that we discussed at the beginning of our discussion today. So that's a good thing to know. You have all these portals available to you. Exclusivehub.ca is completely at your discretion. It's free for you to use, and it's also connected directly to you. So any inquiries that come from that portal will come directly to you. There are no intermediaries there. It's a part of Remarketer. Also, this tab right here is again part of Remarketer. All the other users are being exposed to you, but don't be passive. Try to be active. Once you have this listed on all that platform, advertise it, set Google ads, Facebook ads, put aside a little bit of money to promote the property. Flyers would be good as well. So those are the different types. You can even have actual open houses and advertise the open house as well. So people can come to the property. It doesn't have to be on MLS for you to have an open house session. So go ahead and do everything possible and advertise the property. You have all the means, and this is, as I explained in our previous webinar, this is probably the best platform for you to utilize for advertising, because it actually captures the leads. As you can see right here, the property is going to, the system is going to request for a registration before they access the property details page. So go ahead and use this link and that QR code that is provided to you right here for your advertising. And if you need more about this, go back and refer to my previous webinar right there. So once you start advertising the property and promoting it as much as possible, you will hopefully be able to find the right buyer. It requires a lot of your own attendance. When you are not on MLS, it's up to you to sell it. So you have to really push it. So with all that, with Exclusive Hub, with the exclusive listing on your website, with the email campaigns, as well as your brokerage website as well. So this listing will also be listed on your brokerage website. So you have all the ammunition that you need to support your promotional efforts. And once you do that, you are going to hopefully be able to sell a property. All right, so I'm going to stop here. I hope that this has been informative for you. It definitely would be a good tool for you, both in when markets are hot, as well as when markets are not so hot. It's only the objective and the rationalization that's going to be a little bit different. Well, on the two sides of the spectrum, if I want to say. Send us any inquiries or any questions that you have. We would love to hear from you. Otherwise, take care, stay safe, and I'll see you again in a week. Have a good one.